In this video, you will discover the 6 signs that you are lacking confidence with men. Hi, I'm Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man Method. And look, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you get notified for more juicy videos coming your way. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Sign number 5 that you are lacking confidence with men is you put him on a pedestal. I cannot tell you how many women I see every day who make sure sort of like that the man is sort of above them, that they're sort of superior. Somehow they have like qualities that the woman doesn't have, right? Maybe he has like a better career. He can finally make her happy. He can finally, be the source of her happiness, so to say, right? So they really put a man on a pedestal. And what they're forgetting is what I always say. The soulmate is real, but the pedestal you put him on is not. Now, why is that? Well, because we have all different parts inside of ourselves. So when you put a man on a pedestal, what you do is you project onto him what you want to see more of. But what happens in that moment is, for one, you strengthen energies inside of himself that may actually not be strengthened, right? So you may project onto him that he's a great king and he's a great provider, right? And so you may actually like delete all the times when he's not a great provider, so you actually miss the whole boat. But also you don't see what other weaknesses he has, right? We always say when you have the rose-colored glasses on, so you may not see that he has maybe a weak inner boy, right? Or that he has maybe a weak wild man, that he's not really embodied. He may be a strong worker, right? And he may be very honorable, but he's not really embodied. He's not really emotional, right? But you don't see that because you have him on such a high pedestal. And then lastly, unfortunately, whatever you put on a pedestal has to fall off. What goes up must come down. So the disappointment and the resentment, unfortunately, is going to be inevitable. So make sure you don't put him on a pedestal. Sign number 5 that you are lacking confidence with men is you don't speak up. Now, this is kind of going along with putting him on a pedestal, right? But basically, everything that he says is so important, and you literally outsource your authority to him, right? I used to do this all the time, right? I would say, well, who am I? So one of my core beliefs that I developed in childhood was, who do you think you are? So if you have any working conversation internally, dialogue inside of yourself, you will act the same way, right? You won't speak up. You won't disagree, right? Let's say he shares something with you and you're like, honestly, I respectfully disagree, right? You actually, when you have confidence, you're not afraid of what? Of confrontation. I actually call it carefrontation. I teach that in my program, right? How to move from confrontation to carefrontation. That's a whole different story. But because when you have confidence, you actually know that you have resources inside of yourself to deal with the repercussions that come from that confrontation, right? So you know, okay, you'll be fine. You have a strong internal dialogue, for example, that is positive, that is affirmative, that even if the man would not agree with you after you disagree with him or after there's a confrontation, right? That you wouldn't necessarily need the agreement from him, right? You're not just other focused, but you also have a healthy level of being self-focused. Sign number 4 that you are lacking confidence with men is you pretend to be someone that you're not. And I've talked about this before, but I see women all the time who are saying, I'm going to go to this like finance meeting, right? Or you know what, they're not even interested in sports, but yet they pretend that they know everything about this guy's team, right? Or, that they don't really know how to cook, but all of a sudden they know how to speak, not only how to cook, but also how to speak the language that goes with it and have like the French pronunciation, right? So they pretend to be someone that they are not, right? Because the internal conversation is, well, I'm not acceptable for who I am, so I have to pretend I'm someone that I'm not. Now, of course, for one, that's incongruent. Confidence is what you think, what you say, and what you do is in alignment. So obviously, like, the confidence is lower, right? Because what you think is not in alignment with what you do, because what you think is like, I don't like cooking. I'm not interested in sports. I could care less about the financial world, for example. And some of you may really much care about that. So those are just examples, right? But then what you do is the complete opposite. You're actually completely contradicting yourself. You're walking past conflict, right? And so then, of course, that leads to like a massive withdrawal from your trust, from your confidence bank account. So what you want to do instead is actually be true to yourself. And you know what? It's actually kind of cool when you tell your man, well, actually, I don't really care so much about that, but I care about this. I care about bungee jumping, or I care about whatever it is, like writing or personal development, right? Whatever the case may be that you're actually really interested in, that's actually what makes you charismatic and adds on to the confidence. Sign number 3 that you're lacking confidence with men is you forget who you are in the presence of a man. Now, this is a really quote unquote funny story, but about what must have been like about 11 years ago or so, I was really interested in this man, right? And on paper, he looked amazing. I mean, he was a coach, and I wanted to be a coach. Back then, I wasn't a coach yet, right? But I was very much into personal development, and he was, committed to spiritual growth, and he had his sailboat, and he was meditating, and he was hot, and he was attractive, right? So plenty for me to project onto him, talking about putting someone on a pedestal, right? But even worse than that, I forgot who I was. I couldn't even speak English in his presence. I was so nervous, right? That I just literally, I sounded like, I couldn't put 2 words together. It was like crazy. Literally, I could either not say anything at all because I literally just went blank, right? Which is, by the way, a trauma response, right? Like, so I was so intimidated by his energy and to say the wrong thing, so that I rather didn't say anything at all. So I kind of went into a freeze, right? Or I said something like from an anxious place, like way too fast, and my words were mumbled and nothing really made sense, right? Because my brain literally went on vacation, right? That's a sign that you're lacking confidence because you're so other focused. You're not even connected to yourself anymore. You're not even connected to your core anymore. I didn't even know who I was. I was definitely not grounded. If you would have told me, do you feel your feet on the ground? I would have said, what feet, right? So what you want to do instead in those moments, especially if you know, wow, this is really a man, I always forget who I am and who he is and everything around me, I just go blank, right? You can actually future pace yourself and actually visualize, okay, what it would be like to have a conversation with him, to stay grounded. Even visualize your feet maybe weighing 1,000 pounds, really pulling you into the earth. So you stay in your body, you stay grounded, right? And you slow down your speech. So it really helps to kind of visualize. Athletes do that very successfully when they have injuries, right? They watch themselves over and over in their internal eye because the brain can't tell the difference between reality and imagination. So try it out. Sign number 2 that you're lacking confidence with men is you initiate conversations. Now, I talk about this all the time, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about this. But look, if you initiate conversations, that really says like, okay, I'm not really magnetic. I'm not really worthy to get attention from a man, right? A man is not really able to focus on me. I actually have to like sort of jump into the camera and say, what about me? Right? Look at me, right? Like I'm jumping through all the hoops. I'm turning myself into a pretzel. I'm initiating the conversations. I make sure you're entertained, right? So it's all about like really giving your power away and like performance, right? Again, this goes also with pretending to be somebody that you're not, right? But it's really about like making sure that you're, when you feel worthy, you're like, the right man will reach out. The right man pursue me, right? The right man will think of me because you have to give someone the space to think of you. If you're always reaching out, they can't have the space to think of you, right? They can't have the space to think about what they want to write to you or what kind of meme they want to send you or what kind of question they want to ask you because you give them no time and space to miss you, right? And to actually feel like what it's like to not have you in their presence. So make sure that you don't initiate conversations. And finally, sign number 1 that you are lacking confidence with men is you keep yourself available until the last minute, right? Like, can you remember those times when you sit next to your phone on a Saturday night, right? You haven't heard a confirmation from him yet, right? So by the way, like a normal time to confirm by the latest would be 24 hours before the date, right? Because he has to assume that you have other things to do, right? Because if you have a date at night, that may actually influence how your day is going to flow. If you're going to start work early, if you go to the gym earlier, right? Because you can't go to the gym after work because you won't have enough time, right? Or whatever, right? So like 24 hours is really courteous to let you know before the date, right? Like to confirm it, yay or nay. And so what you don't want to do, and I remember this so much with my girlfriends, with myself, like keeping myself available, right? Even like an hour before. No, an hour before, you should be busy. You have now plans with your girlfriends. You're going out for a cocktail night. You're going to go out to pickleball with your friends. Like you are busy. You are done. Like don't hand him a resume that he can treat you like a doormat, like a woman would do when she's lacking confidence, right? But instead actually say, I have confidence. I have better things to do. I'm not afraid to miss out, because that's the thing. The reason why you keep yourself available until the last minute is because you're afraid to miss out, which of course comes from this place of knowing not that you are the drink. You're not getting a drink. The man is not the drink. The date is not the drink, right? But you are the drink, right? So true confidence is really saying like, I'm the life of the party. I'm the source. Right? Nothing that I'm about to engage with is going to be the source of my happiness. If you want to learn more, I invite you to watch my free playlist course on how to make a man chase you, which is right below this video. And also, if you haven't done so already, take my free Magnetize Your Man quiz at magnetizeyourman.com or simply by clicking that link below. Ladies, this is it for today. Much love. I'll talk to you soon.